I have a lesson for you today on how to complete the guide key in isometric view in AutoCAD. I'm doing a lesson on this one because this one presents a challenge here at the slot on the smaller angular block here. Now, it doesn't give us a length of the top of the slot at the top face, nor does it give us the length of the line at the bottom of the slot where it connects to the angular surface here. One thing to note is the angle of 60 degrees will not actually be 60 degrees in our isometric view. That angle can only be true in orthographic projection. To get started, our origin is in this bottom left-hand corner of the front face of the larger block. So we're going to get started now. Line command, snap to endpoint, traveling up on 90 degrees straight at 51.5. And I'm going to continue on 30 degrees at 57. Travel 30 degrees at a value of 13. And then down on 90 degrees, 13. Continue on 30 degrees at a length of 29. And I'm going to stop here based on what I'm looking at on my iPad right now. Right click, left click, repeat line, endpoint. This length is going to be 13 on a polar angle of 13, on a polar angle of 30 degrees, sorry, and connect to this intersection. Right click, left click, repeat line, snap to endpoint, travel down 13 on 90 degrees, and then snap to this intersection. Repeat line, endpoint, 30 degrees, a length of 29. I'm going to travel up on 90 degrees, another value of 13. And then we're going to travel on 30 degrees to a length of 57. Traveling back on 30 degrees at a value of 13. And we're going to come back again on 150 degrees this time at a value of 57. Then I'm going to snap this closed at this endpoint. Now, I'm going to draw another line here, and this is going to be 51.5. Then I'm just going to snap to this endpoint here to finish. Now this line can be trimmed. And I'm going to work from the back now. So I'm going to grab the line. I'm going to snap a line to this endpoint. And there's no dimension that tells me how far the difference is from the top face of the larger block to the top face of the smaller angular block. But I do know the height of this block, and I do know the height of the smaller one. So it's 51.5, and the smaller one's 32. So I just have to subtract 32 from 51.5, and the difference will be the length of this line. So I like to subtract in groups of 10 first. So that's 41.5, 31.5, 21.5, and then another 2 would be 19.5. That's how I like to do math in my head. Just work with the even groups first. All right. There's our line, and we're traveling on 30 degrees. And this should be a value of 15, even though the dimension is not given, but it's assumed based on what we see at the other side of the slot. And we're traveling down now on a 90 degrees at a value of 9.8. And we're traveling on 30 degrees at a length of 24. All right, so now we're going to start working from the front end. And again, this line length here, I don't know what it is because it doesn't give you a dimension, but we know that the width is 57 and the width of the smaller block at the very bottom is 47.5. So that's really easy. 47.5 subtracted from 57 is 9.5. It's 0.5 less than a group of 10. So 9.5. This line is on 30 degrees at a length of 54. And we're traveling back on 30 degrees at a length of 47.5. And we're traveling up now 90 degrees at 32. Traveling on our 150 degree angle, this is going to be 15. And we're going to be coming down 9.8. Right? I could have just snapped to that endpoint as well. Okay. So how are we going to finish this? All right, we've hit a kind of a roadblock here. The only way that you can really know the exact lengths of these lines is to actually draw this smaller block in orthographic right side projection. Like a two-dimensional view looking at this guide key from the right side and only drawing the smaller block, because then we can actually measure the lengths of the lines and then transfer them to the isometric view. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to do that off to the side here, and then I'm going to erase it. So I'm going to turn ortho on, start anywhere, draw this line 47.5, and again up 32. And again, I don't know the length of that line here. So what I can do is put my polar on and draw the line on the angle of 60 degrees here. Right? It finds that polar angle. And I'll just click up here. Then I'll draw a line from this endpoint to this intersection and trim it away. Now we're going to offset this line, the top line, 9.8. And what we can do is just extend it to this intersection, and if we want, we can put this on hidden, because that's what it is, but we don't really need to worry about that. But I'll do it just for the sake of doing things correctly. All right, so what we can do now is we can measure this line through utilities, right? So I can select measure. I'll do the bottom one. So from this endpoint to this endpoint, it's listed as 34.6828. So 34.6828. And that's the length of that line. And I can just copy it from here to here. Next, the larger line, the smaller line, we're going to measure that one at the top surface. So this endpoint to this endpoint, this one measures 29.0248. All right. $29.0248. So we're keying these in exactly as they're measured. Enter. We're going to copy this one from this endpoint to this endpoint. And now at this time, we can actually create the angle. So we're going to draw a line from here to this endpoint, and we should be able to just copy this one too, and it should want to work out perfectly, and it does. So there it is for us. And I also need to copy this line in 2 more places. So from here to here and to here. So we're going to draw a line also from here to here. And we're going to be trimming and erasing this information. We can also copy from here to here and draw a line from this endpoint on 30 degrees at a length of 24. And at this point, we can draw a line to here and to there. And this line here, look, I made a little mistake here. So this has to be moved from here to here. And let's actually, it's not quite what it should be. Still, see what happens when you zoom in on things, you can really get a good look at what's going on. So we actually need to move this line from here to there. All right, now it's correct. And so even I make mistakes sometimes. Like sometimes you can snap things to the wrong spot. So just be careful when you're doing things like that. 29.0248. I'm actually glad I made that mistake so I could show you how to fix it. So we're just right-clicking, repeating, we're measuring 34.6828, and this one can't hit escape, as you know. Okay, so this we don't need anymore. Although you can leave it there if you want, it doesn't really matter. And you fill the title block accordingly, and that is the end of the guide key. So that is how you actually solve that slot. And it should look exactly like it does on this sheet when you're completed. So I'm sure a lot of you had a question or questions on how to complete this, and that is how you do it. So the jig spacer and the counterweight and the control bearing should be finished before attempting this one. That's it for me. I'm signing off. Good luck, and I will talk to you later.